Hello and welcome to my review of the Warbringer Nemesis Titan Belicosa Volcano cannon for Adeptus Titanicus from Forge World. Now, one of these carapace weapons will cost you £16. It does consist of only 10 pieces of resin. It's a little bit cheaper than the paired weapons for the Warlord, which are normally £20 each for the paired Vulcan Mega Bolters and the Turbo Lasers Destructors and the Gatling Blasters. We'll have a little comparison with those a little bit later on. This is the pose I've gone for. I haven't magnetised anything, and the one thing I need to tell you all straight away is the thing that my predictions were correct. You do not get a resin turntable and supports with this gun. It's extremely frustrating and disappointing, considering that the full-size kit, clearly they do have the resin parts for the supports and the shield and the turntable. I think it's a huge mistake not to include these 4 extra pieces. The way that it's built could easily have included the turntable, because then you could just not glue these power cablings and not glue these heat sinks or power banks, whatever they are. You could magnetise them. There's a small space in there to fit 1 magnet each. You could also quite easily magnetise these, just put 1 magnet in there, and therefore you could hot swap them out at your leisure. Likewise, this is what you're going to have left over with the Nemesis. You're going to have this quake cannon that you can't really do anything with. The only thing you could possibly do is kind of file off the supports a little bit so that this fits in snugly in and out, but then you're going to be left with these cables, which you could probably magnetize in there. Either way, it's a fair bit of a challenge, and I would have preferred them to include the turntable as well. The standard edition sort of Nemesis has the turntable that just pops in and out. They could have done that for this one. I guess they were limited with the full scale in that they'd already designed these and the way that connects, but it's worth pointing out that this is the same for the full scales. So if you already have a Nemesis and you're a crazy person like myself and you are planning on getting a second one, then bear that in mind, that you won't be able to move this gun left or right because it's going to be attached without sufficient magnets. My 2 ammo hoppers are magnetised on my Nemesis, so I think I probably could hot swap them in the full size one, but with this one you only get the 1 plastic turntable. So that's the interesting point I'd like to make. I had quite a few questions regarding that, but pose-wise, really happy the way that turned out. He's aiming the gun down at going for a headshot of another Nemesis maybe, or even a Reaver from a distance. I do like the pose a lot, and if I was going to get a second full-size one, this is easily the pose I'd go for. I'd probably change the legs, because my other one has its left leg forward. Other than the lack of swappability, I'm really happy with the way it came out. I love the pose, love the angles. Yeah, fantastic looking Nemesis, and I'm pleased that I could do this second one from the Maniple a bit of justice. Comparing him to the other Titans, he is a fair bit bigger than a Reaver. He's closer to a Warlord than a Reaver is to a Nemesis, but this was the other weapon that I wasn't hugely impressed with, the Vulcan Mega Bolt. I think it is still too small. I think it needs to be a bit chunkier, and you don't get much for your money there. The Warhound weapon, the Ursus Claw, that's quite cool. You can magnetise, you can magnetise the base of that and have this or the shock lance in there. So that resin piece I was quite happy with. I hope they bring that out in full scale. And also I was happy with the Warlord Titan weapons. I know I've done a review of all these, but so now you can see the resin weapons for all of the Adeptus Titanicus Titans, you know, with the exception of the War Master, of course. I guess the next frontier for me to explore is with the full resin knights, with the Styrics, Magira and Atrapos offerings from Forge World, to see if they're any good. But out of all of these, I've been the most happy with the Warlord main weapons. I think the Macro Gatling Blaster is amazing. I think the Quake Cannon is almost perfect, except for that armor plate. I have not yet purchased the missile, but the Mega Bolter is a little bit lacking, and the Warhound weapon is quite cool. So far I do like the Gatling Blasters of the Warlord, although they are a little bit too high still, but we'll have to take a look at the others on offering. But my favourite have been the Warlord main weapons, followed closely by the Nemesis. Although it doesn't come with a turntable, if you got a Nemesis and you haven't built the Quake Cannon, or you have the Quake Cannon loose like this, you could just take the supports apart and then swap it with the Volcano and have that as the, you know, permanent sort of offering. But I like the look of this weapon. I just wish that they had included the rest of the pieces so that you could, you know, potentially swap it. I will go through a little bit of the Adeptus Titanicus rules for this weapon, give you an idea of where it stands next to you know, the Quake Cannon for Adeptus Titanicus. So the Belicosa Volcano cannon is a short range of 30 inches, long range of 60. It's got 1 dice, 12 strength, it's a Warbringer carapace, its points is 55 points, it's a blast 5-inch carapace draining, and the arc is a front arc, weapon disabled 11+, and then repair weapon on a 5+, 11 to 14 detonation body S7 and a 15+ detonation body S9. Compared to the Quake Cannon, it's shorter range for long distance, but it is longer range for short. It has more dice, you know, the strength of the Mori Quake Cannon's only got 9. It's more than double the points, it's almost triple the points cost though. It doesn't have that concussive Quake trait either. If we compare it to the Belicosa Volcano cannon on the Warlord Titan, it's exactly the same. There's no difference here whatsoever. They both work exactly the same, which is a little bit different than how they work in 40k. In 40k, the Belicosa cannon is a higher strength actually than this carapace mounted one. So we are talking about this Volcano cannon here, but in Adeptus Titanicus, they're both the same. Okay. And there you go, that's all I wanted to say about the Nemesis Belicosa Volcano Cannon from Forge World. My final thoughts on this weapon option is that I think they were restricted in having already designed and made the full-scale weapon, and how it would attach to the heat sinks at the back, how it would attach to the power banks at the back. They couldn't necessarily change that. So they had to reflect it in this scale. But, you know, having said that, I did expect an extra turntable on the model. What do you guys think of this weapon offering? But I think it looks really cool, and it's a great addition, Adeptus Titanicus Maniple. Put your thoughts and opinions down below as always. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.